Hey there everyone, welcome back. You're watching the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage here on YouTube, and I thought I'd make a video today as part of my cabinet and table series, or is it table and cabinet series? Sometimes you will get a sewing machine table or cabinet, or maybe it's just a piece of furniture generally, and the furniture that was made in the time this particular table was produced by Singer for a Singer sewing machine, a Singer 201 specifically, around 1950 or so. And this particular model has hardwoods. It also has lovely veneers. And I've been cleaning them up. I've been using the methods I've demonstrated before for you folks. But what happens when you get a really deep gouge like that? Maybe you have a table that's in gorgeous shape except for something like this, and you think, oh, if it only you know if it only wasn't for that. This can happen to any of us. At some point the table was either moved or literally moved out of one house into another. Whatever the situation, you see something like this and you think, wow, I don't want to refinish this. I personally do not refinish furniture. There are people who have brilliant skills at that. But my approach to this, as many of you know, and this is true not only with sewing machines generally, but with the sewing machine cabinets, I want to conserve them. I want to clean them up, spiff them up, make them as beautiful as possible, but still original as possible. So that is not anything that you should give up on because we have tools. What do we have? Well, we've got Howard Restore Finish. And before I go with the Restore Finish, I have something else. Magic markers. I used to call them magic markers. Markers. You can purchase markers, and you will find these in both antique dealers as well as hardware stores. And usually they're in the furniture finishing section, right? So I've got several colors here of different levels of light and dark. One is more red. This brand is called Jack Center. I'm sorry. It says JACCEN Jack Center Retail, whatever that means. And then this is a brand called Trade Secret. These right here. And these markers they contain inks that are in different brown tones, no surprise. And I am going to see if I can use, there's a lot of red in this particular wood, and so we'll get the camera here, and I'll take the one that is, you find the one that's closest, none of them will be exact. And what am I doing here? I don't want to draw on the furniture. I'm actually going to take the felt tip, and I'm just going to blot like that. Now, you may say, well, gosh, now instead of a light, mark, I have a dark mark. Yes. Now, keep in mind that the wood underneath here, or we may still be in the actual veneer, you sometimes have to remember that when wood is exposed and it has no varnish on it, it typically will absorb both stain and marker colors more readily. So what can I do? I can take this, I just dipped a rag here in the Restore Finish and see what that does. Now, you'll notice I could just try the Restore Finish in the mark, although that doesn't always work because the color in Restore Finish is there as a kind of a veneer itself. So I'm going to come back and take a lighter marker. Now it doesn't look very red, but let's see what that does. Aha. So now you can see this marker, and the caps are not, this cap was useless, right? I mean, it doesn't really tell you that much, but it's a lighter colored dye. Okay. Now that is much more similar, much more to the color of the veneer, of the finished veneer around it. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I want it to camouflage. I want it to blend in as much as possible. Furniture over its lifetime will get dings and dents, and Hopefully yours doesn't have that, but you know, even the most careful of movers, even if you pay someone a very, very high amount of money to move your products, you always, people often take out insurance because, well, things get bumped. And again, some people, first of all, if you're going to well, that's some kind of filth that may come off. All right, so now keep in mind that if you go back over it again, it will be darker. So I'm not going to really do that. I'm going to leave it as is. So then I'm going to take my Restore a Finish. This particular color is cherry. That doesn't mean that the wood itself is made of cherry, but it has a very red tone, a reddish tone. I'm going to blot my rag here, and I'm just going to kind of go up and down with the grain. Now, I believe that that's a lot better than what was there before. Can I see it? Yeah, I can make it out. Yeah, not nearly as dramatically. And the Restore Finish, remember, it's also adding some oil, which will cause it to darken. Fortunately, if you look at the pattern of the grain, there are some darker areas. So is it perfect? Not really, but I think it's better, and it shows that, we're trying to care for it as best we can. And if I press a little harder, I can get, I can try to get it to blend in as best I can. That looks like a little bit of a dimple in the wood. So again, conservation, I believe, is certainly better than nothing. And then remember, as I've explained in other videos on the Restore Finish product, you don't leave Restore Finish on here for very long. Follow the directions they offer, right? And then you make sure you remove it. It may not seem like much, but that Restore Finish, if you just leave it on there, can actually damage the finish if you leave it on there for hours and hours at a time. Again, the exact amount of time you can find at the Howard's website. So I wipe that off. Once this dries, I can come back with the wax and feed, which is like a wax that Howard's has. I just happen to use that. You could use other waxes, I suppose. And that is the way I approach preserving vintage sewing machine cabinetry. I hope that this was helpful for you. And if it was, please consider donating to the channel. You can click on my Buy Me a Coffee links. Any of those links, you'll take you right to my page, and you can donate to support my efforts to get more of these sewing machines and their lovely tables rescued. They just need to receive TLC, and the more people we can inspire not to throw things away, but to preserve them, especially when they're built as well as these items were, I think it's worth it. What do you guys think? Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.